Welcome to the Deep Dive, listeners.
Mhm.
Today we are tackling, well, a really dense book. It's called The Universal One, and it's by Walter Russell.
Oh, an ambitious one for sure.
It is. It's going to be quite the journey. The book aims to unravel the very essence of the universe. But we've, gone ahead and distilled it down
That's good.
into the key points for you
Yeah.
to make it, more digestible and exciting and maybe a little less intimidating than the original text.
Mm.
We're going to explore some, I think, seriously mind-bending ideas
Mm.
about light and matter and even the illusion of dimension.
Yeah, what's really interesting to me is that Russell wasn't just a philosopher.
Right.
He was a pretty successful artist and a scientist, actually. But he just had this burning need to understand, like the universe at
Yeah.
its core.
Mm-hmm.
And that drive led him to some pretty unconventional theories.
Definitely.
Some might even say controversial.
Yeah. The Universal One, it's not, definitely not your typical bedtime reading. It gets pretty deep into physics and philosophy and even spirituality. So I think before we get lost in the cosmos, maybe you can kind of give us a roadmap.
Sure.
What are some of the big ideas that Russell was grappling with in this book?
So one of his core beliefs was that humanity was kind of on the brink of this huge leap forward, this transition, he called it, from what he called the barbaric age to the cosmic age.
Mm.
So you can imagine moving from a world of fear and conflict to, a world, an era defined by knowledge and peace and love.
It sounds pretty utopian, especially when we're, looking around at the world today. What did he think was holding us back from this cosmic age?
Well, he argued that it's really our limited understanding of the universe that keeps us stuck. He believed that everything that we perceive as being solid and separate is actually an illusion.
Okay, now you've got my attention. An illusion. I mean, come on, this table feels pretty solid to me.
Right. But Russell, he claimed that all of this, the table, the microphone, even you and me, it's all just what he called the one substance in motion.
Mm.
And he identified the substance as light.
Light.
So dimensions like space and time and even the forms of matter are all illusions created by how this light moves.
So if I'm following you correctly, it's kind of like a film projector.
Yeah.
The film itself is just a strip of pictures.
Yeah.
But when it moves, we perceive it as a moving story,
Mm.
as this whole world unfolding. Are you saying the universe is like that?
That's a great analogy. He used the example of a spinning propeller
Okay.
that's creating a wake in the water.
Okay.
The wake has this, it has a form, but it's really just water moving
Okay.
in a particular way. Similarly, the universe is light, or what he called, and this is where it gets a little interesting, thinking mind in constant motion.
Hold up. Thinking mind. You're saying that the universe is thinking, like it has thoughts and feelings.
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. Russell didn't necessarily say that the universe, thinks like humans do, but he believed that mind is this the fundamental reality.
Hmm.
It's this kind of ecstatic substance that's in constant rhythmic motion.
Wow.
And that raises the question, if everything is ultimately mind, what does that mean for our own thoughts?
Yeah.
Are we in some way participating in this universal dance of creation with with every thought we have?
Whoa, that is a heavy thought. This is already way more profound than just like some scientific theory.
Right.
This has implications for how we see ourselves, our
Yeah.
power, our place in the universe.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why Russell's ideas were seen as so revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a bit dangerous back in his time. And frankly, they still challenge us today.
Okay, so I'm trying to picture this. We've got light and motion creating, well, everything.
Yeah.
And the universe itself is this thinking mind constantly creating and destroying.
Mm-hmm.
But what's driving that process? How does it all work?
Well, he argued that it comes down to two opposing forces.
Okay.
Like this cosmic push and pull.
Okay.
He called them electricity and magnetism. And he saw them as the kind of like the father and mother principles of this, this thinking mind.
So electricity and magnetism, those are kind of familiar terms. I mean, I know they're important for electricity and magnets.
Right.
But how did Russell apply those concepts to the entire universe?
He described electricity as the generative force, the one that brings things together, like, integrates energy and forms matter. Think of it like building something. You're concentrating energy into this specific form.
Okay, I see. And what about magnetism? What did he say about that?
Magnetism, he said, is the radiative force, the one that breaks things down. Releasing energy back into this universal flow. It's like the opposite of building. It's about letting go. Dispersing energy.
Back into the universe.
So it's this constant interplay, this creation and destruction, this cosmic dance between these two forces. But I need something a little more concrete here.
Sure.
What's a real world example of these forces at work?
Think about breathing.
Okay.
When you inhale, you're drawing in air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Concentrating it in your lungs, building up, this potential energy. That's like the electric force, bringing things together.
Huh.
But then you exhale, releasing that air, dispersing it back into the environment. That's the magnetic force, letting go, radiating energy outward.
Okay, that makes sense. So just like we have this cycle of breathing, the universe has this constant dance between electricity and magnetism, creating and destroying, building and breaking down.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to, the universe as a whole. Russell believed this cyclical pattern applied to, everything, from the tiniest atom to the grandest galaxy. He even saw it reflected in our own lives. The ebb and flow of relationships, the rise and fall of civilizations, the cycles of growth and decay that we experience.
Wow, that's a pretty profound way to look at it.
Oh.
But I'm curious, how did he imagine matter like actually forming from this dance of light? And opposing forces. Did he have a model for that?
He did. He proposed that that everything is made up of what he called light units.
What units?
Think of them as tiny bundles of light.
Okay.
Constantly swirling and vibrating.
Okay.
And these light units are the building blocks of everything, from the simplest atom to the largest star.
So you're saying that even something as seemingly solid as a rock is really just a bunch of these light units swirling around in some specific pattern.
It is, isn't it?
That's pretty wild.
He went even further to say that these light units aren't just, passive things. They're more like tiny living beings, each with its own, cycle of birth, growth, and decay. And the way these units are arranged, how fast they're spinning, that determines the properties of different elements. Heavier elements are like, light units packed really tightly together, swirling rapidly, while lighter elements are, more spread out, moving more slowly.
Okay. So we've got these tiny swirling light units forming everything, and this cosmic dance of electricity and magnetism, driving the whole process. It's a lot to take in. But did Russell give us any specific tools to understand how it all works? Like, did he lay out any like universal laws or principles that govern this grand cosmic ballet?
He absolutely did. In fact, a big part of the universal one is devoted to outlining a system of laws and principles that he believed, govern everything in the universe. But that's a big topic, and we've covered a lot of ground already.
All right. Well, I'm definitely ready to dive deeper into those laws. It sounds like we're just scratching the surface of Russell's mind-blowing universe. Listeners, join us next time as we continue our deep dive into the universal one, exploring the fascinating laws and principles that Russell believed govern everything in the cosmos and what that might mean for us. Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Last time, we were exploring Walter Russell's The Universal One. And yeah, things got pretty mind-bending. We were talking about swirling light units, and the universe is this like thinking mind and this cosmic dance of electricity and magnetism.
It is. It's quite a shift in perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Moving away from this idea of a static material universe and embracing this vision of constant motion.
Yeah.
And interconnectedness.
And before we wrapped up, you mentioned that that Russell actually laid out like specific laws that he believed govern this universe of swirling light and energy. I'm really curious to hear more about that. What are some of these universal laws, and how do they like actually work?
Well, one of the most fundamental laws, and one that underpins like much of his thinking, is this principle of rhythmic balanced interchange. Basically, Russell believed that the universe is always seeking balance.
Yes.
Every action creates a reaction. Every buildup of energy leads to a release, and this constant back and forth creates the rhythm of the cosmos.
So it's like a cosmic seesaw, always trying to find that perfect equilibrium.
That's a good way to visualize it, and this principle applies to everything, not just physical phenomena. Think about human relationships.
Right.
We experience attraction and repulsion, closeness and distance, all in an attempt to find that balance. Or consider the cycles of nature, growth and decay, day and night, the changing seasons. It's all about finding that rhythmic, balanced interchange.
I can see how that would apply to, the natural world. But
Yeah.
but what about things like technology or human creations? Do those fit into this principle too?
Absolutely. Even our technologies are subject to this universal law.
Mhm.
Take energy production, for example. We're constantly trying to find new ways to generate energy, to build things up.
Right.
But there's always a cost, a release of energy, somewhere else. Think about the environmental impact of burning fossil fuels.
Right.
It's all interconnected, a constant cycle of give and take.
That makes sense. So if this principle of balance is so fundamental, are there any like practical applications? I mean, can we actually use this knowledge to say create new technologies or solve problems?
That's a great question, and it leads us to one of the most intriguing aspects of Russell's work, which is transmutation. Remember, he believed that all matter is just light in motion, and heavier elements are simply light units packed, more tightly together, swirling at faster speeds.
Yeah, that was the whole mind-blowing concept that even, a rock is just a bunch of tiny light units doing a super fast dance.
Exactly. And Russell theorized that if we could understand and control the precise patterns of motion that create different elements, we could potentially transmute one element into another.
Wait, are we talking about alchemy here? Like turning lead into gold?
Well, it's not magic.
Re-
It's about understanding the underlying principles of energy and motion that govern the universe. Think of it this way: if you know the steps of a dance, you can change the rhythm, the tempo, the formations to create a new dance altogether. It's the same with elements. Change the motion of those light units, and you change the element itself.
So theoretically, we could create any element we need simply by manipulating the motion of those light units.
Yeah.
Could we solve like resource scarcity problems
Yeah.
by transmuting readily available elements into rarer ones?
That was Russell's proposition. He even provided detailed diagrams and formulas in his book outlining the specific patterns of motion he believed were responsible for creating each element. He saw it as a potential solution to scarcity, allowing us to create the materials we need in a sustainable way.
But wouldn't that require a tremendous amount of energy? I mean, we're talking about rearranging the very building blocks of matter.
You're right. It would require a deep understanding of energy dynamics, but Russell didn't see that as an insurmountable obstacle.
Okay.
He believed that the universe is teeming with untapped energy, particularly in what we perceive as empty space. He saw this empty space as this vast reservoir of potential energy, just waiting to be harnessed.
So it's not just about manipulating matter, it's about tapping into this cosmic energy source
Yeah.
to power those transformations. This is starting to sound like something out of a science fiction novel.
Well, science fiction often draws inspiration from, cutting-edge scientific ideas. And
Yeah.
while Russell's vision may seem, far-fetched, it's grounded in his understanding of the interconnected nature of the universe
Yeah.
and the fundamental principles of energy and motion.
I can see how this could potentially revolutionize, everything, not just science and technology, but even like our understanding of human potential. If we could harness these universal laws, could we create technologies that seem impossible today? Clean energy, new materials, even influence the very fabric of reality.
Russell certainly believed so.
Mhm.
He envisioned a future where humanity could overcome the limitations of our current technology and create a world of abundance where scarcity and disease are things of the past.
That's a pretty amazing vision, but it also raises a lot of questions.
Sure.
I mean, how do we practically go about harnessing these laws, and what about the ethical implications of having this kind of power over matter and energy?
Those are important questions. And while Russell didn't, lay out a step-by-step plan, he emphasized that that accessing this level of understanding requires a shift in consciousness.
Mm.
We need to move beyond our current limited perspective and embrace a more expansive view of the universe and our place in it.
So it's not just about mastering some technical skills. It's about evolving our thinking, our awareness,
Yeah.
our entire way of being. It sounds like a tall order.
It is, but Russell believed that this shift in consciousness is not only possible; it's essential for our survival and evolution as a species. He saw it as the key to unlocking our true potential and creating a future where we live in harmony with ourselves, each other, and the universe itself.
Okay, so we've explored, Russell's ideas about transmutation and harnessing universal energy, but there's one more piece of the puzzle I'm curious about. He talked about the potential for healing ourselves by understanding the energy patterns within our own bodies. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Of course. Remember, Russell saw the universe and everything in it as composed of these swirling light units constantly in motion, and he believed that that health and disease are simply different expressions of the same energy, just like different elements are formed by varying patterns of light unit motion.
So you're saying our bodies are like microcosms of the universe,
Yeah.
subject to the same universal laws of energy and motion.
Exactly. He saw illness as a disruption of the harmonious flow of energy within the body.
Mm.
While health is characterized by a balanced rhythmic interchange of energy, it's like that principle of rhythmic balanced interchange we talked about earlier, but applied to our own bodies.
That's a fascinating way to think about it. So if illness is like a disruption in the flow of energy, how do we actually go about restoring that balance and healing ourselves? Are we talking about like some kind of energy healing technique?
Russell believed that that various approaches could be used to influence the flow of energy in the body, from practices like meditation and visualization to specific movements or postures.
Yeah.
Designed to harmonize energy flow. He also emphasized the importance of understanding our thoughts and emotions, seeing them as powerful forms of energy that can either contribute to or disrupt our well-being.
So it's a holistic approach, addressing the mental and emotional aspects of health as
Yeah.
well as the physical.
Precisely. And while Russell didn't provide, specific like medical advice, he did offer a framework for understanding health and disease.
Yeah.
that empowers individuals to take a more active role in their own well-being. By understanding the energy patterns within ourselves and learning to work with them, we can potentially tap into, a profound capacity for self-healing.
This is all incredibly fascinating. But
Yeah.
but I have to admit, it's also a lot to take in. Russell's ideas are both exhilarating and challenging. They spark our imagination, but they also force us to confront some deep questions about the nature of reality and our place in it.
And that's the hallmark of a truly impactful thinker. Walter Russell, he didn't just give us new scientific theories. He offered a completely different way of seeing the world, one that challenges us to expand our awareness and embrace the interconnectedness of all things. But there's one more aspect of his work that we haven't touched upon yet, and it's perhaps the most crucial element of his entire philosophy.
And what's that?
Throughout the universal one, Russell continually emphasizes the importance of love and its role in the evolution of consciousness. It might seem like an unusual topic in a book focused on physics and cosmology, but for Russell, love wasn't just a fleeting emotion. It was a fundamental force in the universe.
Love as a force of the universe. Now that's intriguing. Listeners, be sure to join us for the final part of our deep dive into the universal one, where we'll explore this idea of love as a cosmic force and its role in Russell's vision of human evolution. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been exploring some really mind-blowing ideas from Walter Russell's The Universal One, and last time, we left off on a pretty intriguing note. You were about to tell us about how Russell saw love, well, not just as an emotion, but as like a fundamental force in the universe. That's right. For Russell, love wasn't just something you felt, for another person. It was It was a core principle that's kind of woven into the very fabric of reality. I'm trying to like reconcile that with how we usually think about love. You know, we associate it with feelings, with relationships, even romantic love. How could that possibly be like a universal force?
Well, remember how Russell described the universe as this thinking mind, this constantly creating dynamic energy? He saw love as the driving force behind that creativity, the fuel that propels the universe to kind of express itself in this, endless variety of forms.
So it's like the universe has this deep underlying desire to create, and that desire is fueled by love. It's almost like the universe is in love with the act of creating itself.
That's a great way to put it. And Russell didn't, just leave it at that abstract level. He actually connected love to those fundamental forces we discussed earlier, electricity and magnetism.
Okay, remind me. We talked about electricity as the generative force, the one that brings things together, and then magnetism as the radiative force, the one that breaks things down. So where does love fit into that push and pull?
Russell saw electricity, that building force, as an expression of the masculine principle, while magnetism, that releasing force, represented the feminine principle. Love, he believed, was the force that harmonized these opposites, the energy that allowed them to kind of dance together in this creative balance.
So it's not just about like opposition. It's about this beautiful interplay, this dance between the masculine and feminine. And love is the music that makes the dance work.
That's a beautiful analogy. And just as this applies to, the universe as a whole, Russell believed it applies to our own lives as well. When we act from a place of love, from, compassion and understanding, we tap into that universal creative force. We become co-creators with the universe, able to manifest our desires and contribute to the evolution of consciousness.
That's a powerful idea. So you're saying that by cultivating love within ourselves, by becoming more loving individuals, we can actually like shape the world around us.
That was Russell's core belief. He saw love as the most powerful force in the universe, the energy that has the potential to heal, to transform, and to, create a more harmonious and beautiful world.
It's funny because haven't we all kind of felt that on a personal level? The power of love to inspire, to motivate, to heal.
Yeah.
It makes sense that if it's that strong on a human scale, it could be even more powerful on this, on this cosmic scale.
Exactly. Russell just takes that concept and expands it to, encompass the entire universe. He's saying that the same force that connects us as individuals, that drives us to care for each other and create beauty, is the same force that drives the evolution of the universe itself.
It's almost like we're all connected by this invisible web of love, this underlying energy that binds everything together, from the smallest atom to the farthest galaxy. And when we choose to act with love, we're strengthening those connections, contributing to that universal harmony.
That's a beautiful way to express it. And that's why Russell saw love as the key to unlocking humanity's true potential. He believed that as we individually cultivate love, we raise our own consciousness and contribute to this collective awakening of, humanity as a whole. We move closer to that cosmic age he envisioned, a world defined by peace, understanding, and interconnectedness.
So it's not just about like understanding these grand universal principles intellectually. It's about embodying them. It's about living them. It's about becoming more loving, more compassionate, more understanding in our daily lives.
Exactly. Russell's work is a call to action and an invitation to become active participants in the evolution of consciousness. He reminds us that we each have the potential to contribute to a more beautiful and harmonious world simply by choosing to align ourselves with that universal force of love.
Well, I have to say this has been quite the mind-expanding journey. We've gone from, swirling light units to thinking mind, from transmutation to the power of universal laws, and now to the transformative power of love as a cosmic force. I feel like I need to go back and listen to this whole deep dive again just to process it all.
It's a lot to take in for sure, but the important thing is to not just file away these ideas as interesting theories, but to really contemplate them, to see how they resonate with you and how you might apply them to your own life.
That's really what the deep dive is all about. It's not just about giving you information. It's about sparking curiosity, expanding your awareness, and empowering you to explore these ideas for yourself. So we encourage you to read The Universal One, to contemplate its implications and see how it might, inspire your own journey of discovery.
Because ultimately the universe is a vast and mysterious place, and
Yeah.
and there's always more to learn, more to explore, and more to love.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the mind-blowing world of Walter Russell and the Universal One. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep loving.